This is what it's all about, really, at the end of the day,
Yeah,
right? Helping each other. Yeah.
absolutely.
So this is fascinating. When I got onto your site and I started, kicking around. So you're Tricia Montgomery,
I
and
am.
your baby's name was Moose, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
Moose.
So I want to know all about Moose and Moose's March to 501c3 nonprofit.
Right.
Um, Great website. I really kicked around on it today, especially. But tell the people what they want to know about Moose.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I just so much appreciate this and the opportunity to spread his word and his message. And um, just a little bit of background on me. I've been in the veterinary profession and in animal welfare in the pet industry for about 25 years now. I know I look super young, but I've been around for just a little bit. No filter, by the way.
Yeah,
Hilarious.
I
Um,
love it.
but
Amazing.
my I was serving as CEO for Paws Humane Society and led them into the pandemic. And I had lost my dog Zeus to Cushing's disease. And I
Mm,
had not been able to get another dog. Just didn't, I was busy working, and I have all the animals there. They're all my babies too. And you're working many, many hours. And so it was my birthday, March 29th of 2020, and it was a really, I just want to say it was a sucky birthday. It was just a bad birthday because the pandemic had just started. All these things were going on, and I think everybody remembers the times of COVID and how isolating they were. But we had been deemed essential workers and at the Humane Society, and so we were really working 7 days a week, 12, 13 hours a day. And as I always did, I would make the rounds of our in our Humane Society at Paws, and I went into the back on a Saturday morning, and there in the back was this dog in this small dog room, and he had been brought in overnight, and his legs were just all cattywampus, and he was skinny and heartworm positive, and all kinds of strikes against him, and I'm like, oh, oh, and so I'm like, I think I want to take him home with me overnight. I foster him. And so I went to our foster coordinator, Sally Gowans, and I said, may I foster him? She said, well, you got to get approved first. Even though you're the boss, the CEO, you still have to get approved first.
right.
And I got approved. I filled out all the paperwork and, Department of Agriculture, all these different things that you have to do to be officially the foster parent. And I got approved, and I brought Moose home with Boss. His name was Boss at that time,
Ah,
home with me. And I think I stopped at the store. I got a steak. We just, I'm like, let's
yeah.
celebrate my birthday. He didn't have any wine. I had a couple glasses, but it's okay. I think we watched a rerun of The Bachelorette or something like that. And that was my birthday.
Yeah, I love it.
Woke up Sunday morning, and every dog I've ever had, they've always slept with me. And I wake up and his face is like this with me, and he's just cuddled around me. I'm like, don't do this, no, And then I took him for a walk on Sunday, and then Monday morning I took him back with me to the shelter, and I put him back in the small dog area, and I kept going back and forth. And at the end of the day, the staff ended up adopting him for me. It was during the time of the Bissell Pet Foundation event,
Hmm.
and they said a boss for a boss.
Nice.
And he became my glue. I mean, literally, he did not leave my side. And he was part of the community pet food pantries. I would do television. He was on television with me. Anybody who came into Paws Humane Society knew Moose, and people talked about it in the community. And people would offer me money. Can I have your dog? And then he'd find out he was neutered, and they didn't want him after all.
Right.
Anyway, but he was a love. Um, it was tough years. That it was super
Sure.
tough.
Yeah.
And during that time, my dad had passed away before my mom passed away, and it was hard. And I came home from an event, and my dog, one of the veterinary kennel technicians, had come over because I had been gone all day, and so she came over to look like walk Moose while I was away, and she sent me a text and she said, Moose just doesn't seem to be like he's feeling right.
Hmm.
It's kind of lethargic. And she says, he probably just misses you. And I'm like, yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
So I got home, and you know how when we come home, we're like, oh my God, I miss you, and they're like, and I just snuggle you and strangle you with my love.
Totally.
That's what happened. And I put my arms around him. And I started in the veterinary profession in '93 with the Chicago Veterinary Medical Association.
Nice.
I've been so involved, and I knew what it was. He had 4 nodes around his neck, and he had another 3 down his body, and I knew what they were.
Yeah.
And it's a feeling of shock. It's a feeling of sadness. It's a feeling of, what am I going to do? And I called every person that I knew, and again, asking questions. And I went to Auburn University, spoke to them. I then talked to Riverside Town Veterinary Clinic in Columbus, our veterinarian at Paws, Dr. Crystal White, and it was too late. And by the time that it was stage 4 lymphoma, and he was gone within 2 weeks.
Wow.
And I think every bit of sadness, everything that had been pent up inside from the loss of my mom, my dad, everything that was going on, and I lost it. At that time, I found myself on the floor, and I did not want to go on. Yeah. And I didn't want to live. And that's just, sorry, that's being totally honest. And my sister Cheryl and just people around me and and they were just like, you've got to do something. And something happened. And I found the Association for Pet Loss and Bereavement, who are just an incredible organization. I do currently serve on their board of directors, and just an incredible organization. And Colleen Rowland, their president, really stepped me through the process of grief, because how do you handle grief? And I thought, what can I do? And my sister and we came up with Moose's March, and that was it. And so, but I knew when I created Moose's March, there are so many incredible organizations that are dedicated to providing financial aid, like Live Like Rue and Thorn's Promise, and those that do research, like Morris Animal Foundation, and all these We Are the Cure. There's such beautiful, incredible organizations out there, but there was not one organization anywhere that was dedicated to the early detection of pet cancer and stopping cancer before it started. And I thought, I'm doing that. That is what I'm going to do. And I went to the show VMX, which is the veterinary medical show, in January of 23. And I went with a purpose, and that was to align myself with partners or people who would understand and support my message. And I met with many people. Some of them just really blew me off and didn't give me the time of day. But I found a beautiful team called Volition Veterinary, and they have now the new Q test, which is the early detection of the pet cancer test for dogs, peer reviewed, and just incredibly supported within the veterinary community. And they became our partner in this and the understanding. And so Moose's March simply is, we are dedicated to the early detection of pet cancer. And we provide free pet cancer tests, or tests that are greatly, subsidized to people across the community, across the nation. And it's founded on donations. 100% of our efforts go towards early detection and those pet cancer tests. And I am so blessed that I've taken that grief and that sadness, and there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about him, because he's right up here right now looking at me, and I've got things all around me. Right. And he's in front of me on my logo. But that I don't think about him, but I also realize that it's turning grief into goodness, and that I'm able to do good in his honor.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Really, just
Yeah.
incredible. Ooh, makes me cry.
Yep.
We just lost our baby in January. Sorry.
No, I'm so sorry.
I read your stuff and I was like, damn it. Why are we talking about this?
Because we have to. We have, because the thing is, people don't talk about it. And I think that is what we're trying to do. We have to make we have to talk about cancer. We have to talk about that word. We have to bring it into open conversation and let people know, because cancer, gosh darn it, it is not exclusive. It doesn't go, oh, I'm going to choose you. It's everybody has been impacted by human cancer or pet cancer. And we need to start talking about early detection, whether it's in a self-examination for our dogs that we help pat them down and we understand the lumps, the bumps, the smells, the lethargy, all the bad breath, anything that could have something to do with a sign of cancer. And let's get them in for a wellness check. Let's start making early detection test routine in our wellness checks, because that's the only way we're going to be able to stop the spread, like COVID, stop the spread of cancer.
Exactly. Yeah. Because we missed every sign. However, those signs were not your normal signs as far as I am concerned. If I may be able to talk about them, but it's like, damn it, how would I have even known? How would anyone have known that? But it's these not simple, but these slight little changes in behavior. And I'm like, holy crap, everything we thought was this was not that at all. Everything we thought was anal gland was not anal gland.
Yeah.
For a long time, like over a year. Over a year. How crazy.
And I think that was me too. I missed the warning signs. I missed the little limp. I missed you miss things. And then you run into the guilt, the shame. Yep. I call them their brothers, the coulda, shoulda, woulda, and the cousin if only, because if I could have done that, if I should have done that, if I would have done that, if only I would have done that, the more time I would have had. And I think people just I don't think they realize, because I think especially like they may have a limp, or like, oh, they jumped off the bed of the car wrong. Oh, that's just a limp. Or they're a little bit tired. Well, we played hard yesterday. And so you push these things back that could be signs, that are signs. Mm-hmm. And we just kind of push them aside, and that it's something else. That it's always something else.
In our case, we were going after one thing. And it would get a little better sometimes, but not really. Diet change. No, he doesn't have fleas. I don't know why he's licking his ass. I have no idea why it's happening continually. Yes, we've done this. We've done that. I mean, we did everything. And I love our vet. Our vet's amazing. We drive 3.5 hours to go see him. He's in Dunedin. So but he wasn't, this happened within like hours, craziness. What happened? We lost him that fast because we had to make that decision. And it's like, wait, and I'm like, we're thinking, and Tammy said, my partner, she's like, why does this keep happening? Because Bella, 6 months before, had a tumor on her paw pad, the large paw pad. Lost her 6 months before. But it's like, yeah, why the fuck does this keep happening? Because cancer seems to be, I know there are other diseases and illnesses from my experience, I'm sure your experience with other pets in our lives, but why does this in particular, and it's different types of cancer,
So I'm going to say something here. I think that cancer is more prevalent than ever in our animals, especially, and maybe it's because like social media, like now we recognize things more. It's more prevalent. It's more out there. We understand more. But I also think it's the things that we're doing. I mean, honestly, I mean, think about this. For years and years and years, we've talked about, the food that we were putting into the bodies of our dogs. The importance of a healthy diet but have we talked about the toys that they're chewing on? Have we talked about, the bones? Have we talked about maybe the plastics, the dyes? I mean, I use this as an example. So this is like a little toy, something like that. And think about this. We throw these to our pets all the time.
Yeah.
And these have harmful dyes in them.
Right.
And we never think about this. Think about when and I've seen this 100%, and I'm going to admit I've done this before, that there's a plastic bottle. And it's like, oh, he loves to crunch on plastic bottles. Let me just tear the plastic off that bottle and let him crunch on that. We don't think about the microplastics that they're ingesting, that's staying in their system and not passing through, and that's causing cancer. Right. Even some of the bones that we're getting to our dogs that are very well-known bones, and they are toxic to our pets, and we're not thinking that. And in the environment, Dr. Sue Ettinger, who's known as Dr. Sue Cancer Vet, gave a really beautiful webinar like 6 months ago. Mm-hmm. And things that even for us as humans that you wouldn't think, well, that doesn't impact our pets. My pet couldn't possibly. Secondhand smoke. I mean, all these, there's so much more, I think, attention being paid to it. There are 6 million dogs, 6 million cats diagnosed with cancer every year. Every year. Now think about that. Now that doesn't account for the 6 million dogs and 6 million cats diagnosed the year previous and then the year after. So it's just over and over and over again. And I had a conversation with this beautiful woman who bred golden retrievers, and she said, I won't breed golden retrievers anymore. Every litter I've had has had cancer. She said, I can't, it's just something is going on. And whether we're overbreeding, whether it's the environment, whatever it is, we've got to figure it out, because I think the more that we learn, the more animals are being diagnosed with cancer. And we need to talk about this more and educate people more on all the factors associated with, pet cancer.